generations. His statement on poetry, I try to touch the heart, inspire the mind, move the soul. However, if I can get only one of the three, I'm happy. Recent awards include Luminario 2016, selected as feature artist for November 2016. Luminario 2016 poems selected for festival book. Department of Culture and Creative Development poem picked for Love Poems to San Antonio. And City of San Antonio's Puro Slam, Grand Slam champion. Fourth place in the Austin International Poetry Festival in April of 2015. He would also like to publicly thank the person who decided to butter the pecans before they put them in the ice cream.
Catherine Robinson did this piece here, which is the one I chose. And for those of you who are far back there, you can't really see, but all the hexagons have, well, most of the hexagons have little images within them that I assume will represent her father's life. And also, for those of you who don't know chemistry, this pattern with the hexagons is carbon, and you put this carbon together and you get diamonds. And I was talking with Catherine not too long ago, and she was not aware that she was doing that. She put it together. But I did a little research into it because it grabbed me by the throat. It's entitled Dad Don't Go. 15 years ago I could sing. I can't anymore, but I'm gonna still do it. Please don't go, no, no, no. If you should go, I'll be sad and blue. So I say, no, 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 don't go away. And I'll do everything you want me to, if you promise that you won't leave tonight. And I'll break down and cry a river of tears with just the thought of you and not here in my life. That's from Stevie Wonder. The fabric of a man's life is not solely the frayed edges nor individual strands of thread that promises the end of a tapestry. The fabric of a man's life is not solely the idealized images of quality time moments. It is not only recollections woven into the background stories of summer laughter and winter blues. No, the fabric of a man's life is that completed cloth, that tapestry, that mural in its entirety. It is a cloth that continues to wrap itself around a man's loved ones after he is complete. It is the cloth that comforts you when you pull it up to your chin and the essence seeps in, that chemical catalyst that causes you to begin to beckon those memories to come back home. Memories that have been in fields, playing like children, running through thigh-high summer-scented grasses. Memories that you see sprinting towards you, sprinting towards your recall, laughing. And they become more vivid with each stride they take towards you until they become your present, a gift to you, standing next to you in the now. The fabric of a man's life is so much more than painful illustrations of hospital stays in the days towards the end. More than IV poles and cardiac machines, more than crash carts and diagnostic screens. Do not take care not to weave pain larger than joy simply because it is most recent and thus seemingly most powerful. No, the fabric of a man's life captures all of the elements of his being, his love, integrity, anxiety, compassion, empathy, insecurity, honesty, fallibility, yes, even a childlike jocularity. It is this chemistry between he and his family and the love that binds them. It is the lattice of carbon, that quilt-like hexagon that is his family, his diamond, his immeasurable wealth. It is the synergy of all those moments and years, all those smiles and tears, all the laughter and fears. That is the tapestry of his life. So when her father turned to face death, his thoughts were not of his own existence, nor looking back at his life. His soul only noticed the sound of his daughter's heart, clearly whispering to him, "Dad, don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go." And in hearing her plea, his heart answered, "Don't you know, I will always be with you." Then he smiled, his smile, and closed his eyes to rest. The next piece I chose is Lynn E Allen, and she's not here, correct? She's not here. But I chose The Weeping Woman. And if you can see other chains wrapped around her, she's weeping, and it just spoke to me. So The Weeping Woman. Oh, she also told the poets last week that her father had died, and there was a time period where they didn't hear from the government that he had passed. And then finally the government sent a telegram. But there was a time where they weren't sure. The Weeping Woman. The time between fearing the worst and actually knowing was the longest time. Emotional paralysis was her nemesis, as it grabbed her by the throat and choked the desire to live life from her. She felt as if moments morphed into months and minutes into millennia. Not knowing smothered her movement while enhancing her senses. She became aware of every sound, every silence, every drop of hopelessness, and therefore every heartache with which she would punish herself. Silence suffocated her reasoning as she felt the chains of reality slowly tightening around her body. This silence, entombed in fearing the worst, was a horrendous silence that weighed upon her, that waylaid her. It was so silent she could hear her own blood being pushed, pumped throughout her weeping body. She could hear the cry of the abandoned night crow outside her breakfast nook window. She could hear the screams of the steam above her coffee, dying and plunging back into the cold grip of the cup which she held cradled in both hands. Even today, these hands still tremble in silence when she brings the scalding coffee to her lips and sips. It still tastes of death. The time between fearing the worst and actually knowing was the longest time, until the telegram came. Postmarked with the heavy manacles of indifferent truth, it bound her to a prison called reality. And with this knowledge, her longest time escaped. It rushed over her, screaming, gnashing, thrashing, clawing, gnawing, beating her down, leaving her crumpled like a daughter who has lost her father to a pointless death. When the telegram came, she wailed throughout the day, past the sun and into the darkness beyond the moon. She wailed until the stars holding galaxies together bowed their heads in despair and cried with her. She wailed until she could wail no more. The time between fearing the worst and actually knowing was no longer the longest, because now is time to live without him. Because now, in this time of actually knowing, she must face his actual death. And through this silence that he has left behind, she must now weep for two lives.